All right, my friends, for today's ELA reading lesson, we're going to be using our National Geographic Reach books. Please open up your books to page 144. Now, this is not a story, this is actually a history article. And a history article is an example of non-fiction. If you remember, before we left school, we talked about fiction. Fiction means a fake story, something that is made up. So in this case, nonfiction would mean something that's real, something that actually happened, and this article is going to inform us about it. So while we're reading Communication Then and Now by Robin Nelson, I want you to keep in mind the main idea of this article and any details that help support that main idea. Communication is sharing ideas and news. Most people communicate by talking and writing. People can use their bodies to communicate too. Communication has changed. People now communicate better and faster. Long ago, people made pictures to tell stories. The pictures could be drawings or symbols. This painting was discovered in a cave in France. Now, people use words more often to tell stories. There are over 170,000 words in the English language. Long ago, people copied each book. If they wanted 10 copies of a book, they had to write out each copy one at a time. This book was written with a feather and pen and bottles of ink in 1453. Now, machines make printed books or e-books. Printed books are made with printing presses. People read e-books on computers. Printing presses copy millions of pages each day. Long ago, people tapped messages on telegraph machines. Telegraph machines sent messages using electricity. It took about a minute to send each word. The electric telegraph was invented in 1837. Now, people call each other on telephones. Most people have mobile phones. Long ago, telephones always needed cords. The telephone was invented in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell. Long ago, people wrote letters. It could take months to mail a letter. Mail went on ships and by horses. Today, mail delivery is done by trucks and planes, so letters are delivered much quicker. People wrote letters using pens and paper. Now, people write emails on computers. An email message can be delivered in just seconds. Today, many people write email messages instead of handwritten letters. Long ago, hundreds of people read newspapers. The first United States daily newspaper was published in 1784. People had to buy a newspaper to read it. Newspapers were sold on street corners. This newspaper was sold in New York in 1896. Now, millions of people read newspapers. People can buy printed newspapers. People can also read newspapers on the internet. People all over the world can read news on the internet. Many people get newspapers delivered to them at home. Long ago, people could only listen to news on radios. Radios only make sounds. They do not have pictures. The radio was invented in 1895. Now, people can watch news on televisions. Communication will continue to change. What do you think will happen next? The TV was invented in 1927. So after reading Communication Then and Now, I want to discuss the main idea and the details in that article. So in order to do that, I'm going to draw one of our handy dandy circle maps. So thinking back to that story, what would you say the main idea was? Remember, it was all about communication in the past and the present. So maybe something like, whoops, I'm running out of space. Communication has changed, right? Communication has changed. I'm going to look back at my story and look up some details that support that main idea. So on pages 148 and 149, I see they say that people used pictures long ago to tell stories, even as long ago as people were painting in caves. So in the past, we've used pictures, and now people tend to use words to create stories. So I will write, then people used pictures. Now they use words. I'm going to look at another page. I also see a telegraph being compared to a telephone. So we could say, then people used a telegraph. Remember, that's the machine they used to tap out each word, and they would send each word electronically, and it would take about a minute per word. So that was super slow. Now we use a telephone. And we know that we can talk to someone on the telephone and we can hear them like they're standing right next to us, so there isn't a long wait. Let's take a look at some other ideas. Oh, so in the past, people used to hand write letters, and we still can today, but it's not used quite as much. Now people use emails, right? So I'm going to say, then people wrote letters. Now they type emails. Can you come up with any other details to support that main idea?